I made my way back to Raziel and found her lying exhausted on the ground, hugging her book to her chest. I could faintly hear her breathing, which meant her wounds had no doubt healed, and for some reason her expression displayed a hint of sadness. Surprised to find her in such a mood. Raziel. She opened her eyes at the sound of my voice, faintly calling my name.
Setsuna, what happened to Uriel?
He's gone. That one word proved more than enough to make Raziel understand. She shook her head, a faint smile dancing over her lips.
Incredible. You defeated Uriel of all people.
What about yourself? Are you alright? I mean, your wound. I instinctively placed a hand on Raziel's belly.
Don't worry, I'm fine. I really am. So, please, your hand.
I know I shouldn't, but I really ought to take a closer look. Raziel pried my hands off her belly, her cheeks flushing bright red. She then followed up with a weak few punches in my chest.
You perv.
I only wanted to check your wound.
Pervity perv!
In any case, most important of all, Raziel was safe. Fragments of Uriel's desire to protect her could still unconsciously remain in the depths of this madness-stricken mind. If that were the case, words could not describe how lucky I had been, as shameless as it might sound. So, your book? Raziel nodded, proudly holding up the tomb.
Yes, this is my book. The Sefer Raziel.
Raziel lovingly ran her fingers along its cover, like a mother caressing her child, yet her feelings seemed clouded over by something. What's wrong?
It's true that what I hold in my embrace now is the book I had been searching for. This tome is the Book of Earth.
Ah, right. There were 2 volumes, weren't there?
Yes, this tome comprises the Book of Earth, containing all knowledge mankind needs to live on this earth. The other volume is the Book of Heavens, containing all the divine secrets of the cosmos.
So, we don't have the Book of Heavens, correct?
Indeed, the truth I'm looking for is written on its pages.
That puts us in a difficult situation. In short, unless we find the other volume, the Sefer Raziel won't be complete. Where do we even begin to look? We lost all the leads.
Setsuna.
Hmm?
Do you still wish to continue your pilgrimage?
For a moment, I was ready to entrust that choice to Raziel, but decided to hold my tongue at the last second. After all, I've been told to make my decisions myself. But what was I to do? Search for the gates of the 7th stratum and carry on? Or turn back? Whatever conclusion I might come to, I need to make the decision on my own. If we can go back, we should. I made a decision that would halt our advance temporarily. There's a fine line between courage and sheer recklessness. I couldn't quite come to the conclusion that heading for the 7th stratum in search for Raziel's book without any leads would be the correct choice to make. More than anything, the situation filled me with unease. Going on a pilgrimage, defeating masters, and opening the gates of heaven would magically bring an end to everything. Even I knew that. My words were amplified after fighting and defeating Uriel. What's Astaroth plotting? Did it involve Camael? Did he have any other accomplices? If I were to die in combat, I would prefer not to perish from an unexpected dagger in my back. For the time being, we need to take a step back and reorganize ourselves. I finally discovered my raison d'etre, the power to overcome the insurmountable. However, unleashing it came with certain other requirements. I need to fully comprehend and accept everything. All my own attacks were beyond meaningless. Everything I stood for was being trampled over by the enemy. If those conditions aligned, I could overcome the impossible.
Very well. I'm not sure if there's an exit to be found, though.
See, that's the main problem there. If we decide to descend back to Pandora from here, we might end up having to defeat the Fourth Stratum's master in the process.
This might not be entirely safe, but heading outside could possibly work out for us.
Outside? You mean beyond the walls? Seems worth a try.
Here's how we do it. We search for the outer walls and exit through there. After that, I'll manipulate the laws of gravity so we can head straight down.
You can tell which stratum is where?
That'd be quite difficult, frankly, but I think I should be able to locate the first or second.
Following a brief moment of hesitation, I made a swift decision. Path itself may be wrought with danger, but at the same time, I wish to return to Pandora as quickly as possible. Alright, let's go then. We combed through every nook and cranny of the Konda book town. Taken to the skies when necessary, we both searched for the point where the scenery would begin to loop. I even find myself thinking it might not be all that bad to just keep on flying like this for eternity.
I think it might be around here.
Raziel landed on the ground. I followed. She raised her hands and began feeling around the air, mimicking the movements of a pantomime. As she slowly extended her arm, it suddenly vanished, possibly reappearing several leagues behind us.
Found it. Right here.
She promptly plucked off the external plating. A fierce gust rushed into our faces from the gap. I peeked outside to have a look, taking the sheer enormity of Tokyo Babel's outer walls. Alright, let's go. We both left outside.
Wait a second. I need to put it back in place. There we go.
Once the removed plate clicked back into its original position, we found ourselves beset by waves of anxiety. A careful look below revealed that slope. The shape of Tokyo Babel is that two pyramids joined at the base, not entirely unlike an 8-sided dice. The wind howled, shrieked with persistent force, its frigid touch like icicles through her skin. All in all, the certainty wasn't a place I intended to linger at for too long.
I will now begin manipulating gravity.
Raziel then promptly connected her cable to the ground in order to shift the direction of gravity. Before long, I was standing upright on the fortress' outer wall, gazing into the far distance.
Just like this. Be careful not to forget planting your feet firmly on the ground. One wrong move and you could drift far away from Tokyo Babel.
Raziel and I began to dash across the massive walls of the surface. A little fear separating from Tokyo Babel certainly lingered in my mind. I also couldn't help but wonder what the real outside world looked like. Infinite skies and boundless ocean, tinted an ominous orange hue by the rays of dusk. It's by no means a dull scenery, yet I wouldn't hesitate to call it beautiful either. In short, it felt like a psychedelic dream. The waves were silent, bereft of life. The vast expanse of its surface appeared like a massive blanket of cold tar, a veritable sea of the dead. My face contorted as the terrible winds howled in our ears like a wicked banshee. Each with its ferocious gust, invisible lash of a whip against our bodies. The raging winds and silent seas created a peculiar contrast. I spotted a faint ripple on the surface of the calm water. What could it be? The waves began to swirl and spiral, drawing even Raziel's attention. She stopped her advance and gazed at it in utter confusion. The whirlpool gradually grew in size, as if its intention was to swallow Tokyo Babel whole. The water remained turbulent for some reason, but it didn't directly affect Tokyo Babel itself.
Could it be?
As Raziel momentarily itself, a towering pillar of water rose out of the sea, alongside a colossal dark shadow blanketing the whole of our vicinity. One moment. What?
Oh, crud. I should have brought an umbrella.
Without even attempting to invoke a spell, both ended up drenched by a massive wave of water, its strength rivaling that of a rainstorm or perhaps a waterfall. So much for having dry clothes. I let out a brief sigh as Raziel, her clothes still soaked to her skin, cast her gaze skyward. The sky's blackened as an enormous shadow crept up the walls of Tokyo Babel, covering the whole of it in darkness. What in the world? When I saw the one responsible, even I found myself at a loss for words. Rather than sheer bewilderment, my mind suddenly blanked out due to the sheer gravity of what was unfolding before me. Only Raziel remained calm and collected.
I would never have dreamed of meeting you out here, of all places.
He glanced upwards to an enormous eye, gazing down at us from above. Jordan? The creature's voice boomed like thunder.
You have not changed one bit. Secrets of God. Raziel, does your quest for the tome endure still?
More or less. I'd heard you come to take up residence within the submerged... Sorry, vision went blurry for a moment.
Don't worry.
More or less. I heard you came to take up residence within the submerged halls of hell. Are you certain it's all right for you to swim all the way out here?
The realms of hell have become mine, and mine alone. Yet with no one else to keep me company. Loneliness does rear its ugly head.
Oh, Setsuna. He's the lord of the first sea, Rahab. His other name's a touch more famous, though. Leviathan.
Ah, so this was Leviathan, colossal sea serpent created by God, his body enormous enough to coil about entire continents. He swam the seas of chaos at the dawn of time, before creation itself. By the way, the Psalms make mention of God crushing Leviathan's head and offering him as food for the sharks, though he somehow managed to survive.
Many have been my name throughout the century. But no matter, Leviathan will do splendidly. It sounds cooler, too.
The colossal serpent produced what could be considered a smile.
That's fantastic and all, but it's hard to talk like this. Bend lower, please.
My deepest apologies, lad.
He seemed awfully amiable. In that case, Leviathan quickly lowered his head so it was closer to where we stood. His head resembled more of that of a dragon than a serpent, truth be told, except it was entirely too large. I was glad that he complied and came closer, but at this range, he couldn't help but view him like a massive wall, sporting a red eyeball.
By the way, what is your name, son?
I'm Tendo Setsuna. As I bowed my head, Leviathan did the same, except his could crush me in an instant.
Tendo Setsuna. To be named after the sun while living in the moment. I cannot help but wonder what could have gone through dear mother's head as she picked this particular name.
Leviathan seemed quite knowledgeable. I know what drove her to name me like this.
In any event, what do the two of you seek out here beyond the wall of Tokyo Babel? You shan't find your book among the I can assure you. In fact, that's all you will find here. The sea and the vast sky. Above, not much else.
We're looking to return to the first stratum. There should be a shortcut through here.
Braving the ferocious winds. Here must have been no Jdbutler. And you not forgetting something quite important.
Like what?
The plates cannot be removed from the out.
For a brief second, I could have sworn the winds howled to mock us.
We messed up.
You can say that again. We exchanged a sour look, knowing we had just made a tremendously basic mistake. In fact, we're actually in deep trouble.
I suppose if you possessed data of a plate you have removed once, you could do so again.
Place that Raziel removed. There's one on the 6th stratum and another on the 1st. Were there any others?
No, only those two.
Can you recall the exact location?
I have the coordinates, but they refer to Tokyo Babel's interior. They would not mean much from the outside.
If you perchance do anything to mark the plate when you first remove it, for instance, leaving an easily recognized French on its surface.
They dropped her body into the sea. I could almost see the light bulb above Raziel's head as I uttered the words. Indeed, removed the plate in order to give Gethel a burial at sea.
Body. Now that I think about it, I do recall encountering something of the sort just the other day.
And did you record its coordinates?
I preserved it unconsciously. We would be here all day if I had to recite it orally. So, Raziel, be a good lass and connect this high cable of mine.
An appendage, resembling that of a squid or an octopus, the Leviathan's body began to squirm.
Understood.
Raziel took her own cable connected to the tip of the colossal serpent's tentacle thing.
All done. You can send the coordinates over whenever you're ready.
Just a moment.
It was a strange and bizarre scene, no doubt about it. Still, for an angel and a demon lord, he seemed to get along awfully well. This actually made me recall something else. Something from the time when Leviathan went by the name Rahab. After Sefer Raziel ended up in the hands of Adam, angels driven by jealous rage threw the tomb into the sea. The one who ultimately found again was Rahab. In other words, Leviathan here is oddly capricious for a demon lord.
Using what memories I have of the day we gave Gethel's body to the sea, as well as the coordinates of her fall, we should be able to pinpoint the rough location of the place.
By the way, Raziel, I have something I wish to tell you.
It will have to wait a bit. I'm in the middle of some really complex calculations right now.
for you to finish what we tend now, Setsuna.
Yes. I have a feeling I sort of knew what he wanted to say. I wonder if I should just avert my gaze altogether. When Leviathan revealed himself to us, I was inevitably caught by a large amount of water that splashed my way. In fact, I ended up completely drenched. The problem lay in the following. I wasn't the only one. Raziel, too, was dripping from head to toe. In short, wet and wild.
Say something, son.
Not a thing. Despite what I just blurted out, I had no ulterior motives whatsoever. Raziel appeared to be staring intently at her tablet screen, performing a series of calculations. I felt rude to interrupt her, but I might just have to. But still, if I point out to her now, she would undoubtedly be enraged by the interruption. And the very fact that I pointed it out both seemed very much unlikely. However, if I only mentioned it afterward, she would only get mad about the latter. In short, I was better off holding my tongue at the moment. This was the right choice, no question about it. I felt satisfied that I managed to come to such a unanimous conclusion.
I believe the sooner we let her know, the better.
Hold up. She'll only get angry.
But still,
All right, calculations are all done. I'm ready to hear you out now, Leviathan.
Leviathan's eyeball darted to me in an instant. It appeared he wanted to push this responsibility onto me. Very well. I'll be the one to tell her. So, Raziel?
Yes? What is it, Setsuna?
Remember when Leviathan first appeared?
It was quite a shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. Anyway, when that happened, we were covered in water. Raziel cocked her head, her expression gradually melting into confusion.
What of it?
So, you see, when clothes get drenched in water, they become increasingly more transparent, especially if said clothing is white. Raziel's blank expression flushed red in an instant, like someone had lit a fire in her cheeks. She threw a mean glare at us, her entire body trembling.
no, this isn't what it looks like. I was firmly against it. In fact, I urged to be pointed out to you right away. But this here lad decided not to.
Wait, if we consider the original cause for this whole thing, wouldn't you be at fault here, Leviathan? The sea serpent's colossal eyes widened at my rebuttal. It was a fearsome sight, truth be told.
How else am I to make an appearance? Then, this is oppression. Vile oppression, I say.
Who cares? Said who cares about either of you. The only thing you need to do right now is die.
Raziel held up both her hands in our direction.
Property, manipulation, fire. Burn to ashes!
Please forgive us! She didn't, naturally. I had the top of my head burned while Leviathan suffered even crueler fate. Why she couldn't use that magic to dry herself off, I wonder about that.
I can't see a darn thing.
I think she actually hit you straight in the eye with those flames. Never mind. I was sitting on the ground, looking looking very repentant. Raziel hugged her own body as if protected, her eyes misty with tears as she glared at me.
By the way, how far did you two make it?
The sixth stratum, we then decided to turn back.
We even found one of the volumes of my Sefer Raziel.
I went out of my way to fish it out of the sea for you once, and then you go losing it again.
About that, I'm really sorry. Truly.
Raziel rubbed her hands together nervously. Leviathan's nostrils flared. A moment later, he found himself hit by a tremendous gust of wind. Had he done it without holding back, we would not have come out of it unscathed.
It's all wonder under the old bridge, as they say. Putting that aside, listen, Raziel, how's the state of Tokyo Babel and Pandora right now?
You haven't heard?
All I do is roam the submerged halls of hell, if you recall. So you know, I haven't heard a single thing.
I see. We're going through very difficult times, to say the least. That's how I see it.
Raziel went on, letting the sea serpent know about what had transpired at Tokyo Babel. Leviathan nodded diligently at each of Raziel's explanations. When the angel, however, made mention of Camael, the sea serpent seemed visibly puzzled.
Camael, you say?
Yes, Camael, the so-called Serpent of Death. As a fellow inhabitant of Hell, you must have met her at least once.
Find at what?
Leviathan had just uttered something quite peculiar.
Odd? In what way?
As far as I know, Camael, well, she's already dead. And considering she perished at Tokyo Babel, her soul is now forever gone.
Huh? What in the world was going on here? Where did you see that?
Camael was killed right outside these walls by none other than Astaroth, that lord of demons.
Huh? Astaroth killed Camael?
Wait a second. We did actually meet Camael. Not only that, we fought her. No questions about that. I met her before the calamity struck. It had to be her.
But her very soul had ceased to be. She couldn't even come back as a ghost.
So then, who was the Camael we met?
We all fell into deep silence, marveling over the issue.
Camael crawls upon her like the serpent she is, able to escape even the jaws of death through continuously shedding her skin. Yet she died permanently. I saw with my very own eyes as her soul faded into oblivion.
In that case, just as a speculation, could it be that Leviathan was lying? The chance of that was not zero, though extremely low nonetheless. Say went for the possibility of him mistaking her for someone else. He and Camael were both dwellers of hell. She was a fallen angel, and a powerful one at that. Leviathan would never have made such a mistake. I also had nothing to gain from this. If we were here on the outside only by pure chance, why would Leviathan lie to someone he wasn't even expecting to show up? Which left us with only one possible conclusion. Leviathan's words could be trusted. The Samael we met was a fake. The bigger problem was figuring out what sort of imposter she was. Was she up in a shapeshifter? A clone created by someone.
I've never seen this fake Camael. I couldn't give you a sure answer. However, there is one thing I can say with certainty.
I nodded, continuing where he left off. Camael is not our main culprit here at Tokyo Babel. Actually, even if she did act as a catalyst, the only up against now is someone else. Someone just as powerful.
Very well said, lad. And our prime suspect is
Astaroth.
The third most powerful demon after Lucifer and Beelzebub, and the holder of the highest authority at Tokyo Babel. Not even Camael and his angels dare ignore his commands. And someone like that had apparently murdered Camael. That wasn't a problem, though, after all, Camael was the culprit behind the divine calamity. The one who fought and killed her would be questioned as a criminal. However, Astaroth had not said a single word about slaying Camael. Therein lied the problem, and a big one at that. Had no reason to keep Camael's death a secret. Just undoubtedly one of the prime suspects, in ways of mad and masters showed up even after her death, to continue his search anew. There's no reason whatsoever to keep quiet about this, unless he wanted to set her up as a culprit. Abdia warned us to be wary of Astaroth. I never doubted his words, but with this revelation, my suspicions had only deepened. At the very least, we need to watch ourselves around him. At the moment, we need to convey this new information to Lilith as soon as possible.
watch your backs around Astaroth. If something does happen, you can count on me.
Very well, and thank you.
Raziel turned pale. I couldn't exactly blame her either. You managed to figure out the location of the plate?
Yes, Tokyo Babel travels at a fixed speed, so using the coordinates of where Gethel's body hit the water, as well as my memories of the time it took for her to fall, I should be able to more or less pinpoint the location. Follow me.
Raziel took me by the hand, her eyes alarmingly hollow, almost like they had become devoid of color. Raziel, what's wrong?
Test? Hello?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Sorry, it was not lighting up. Okay.
It's okay.
Nothing.
Raziel, one more thing before you go.
Raziel glanced up at Leviathan.
I sense turbulence in your heart, which wanders the sea of chaos, the first sea and rage for God ever set to creating the world. Those thrown into the sea of chaos, lose sight of themselves, unable to differentiate from what they had and hadn't done. They continue to chase after the elusive wonder known as truth. However, the truth of yours may only end up being one side of the coin, one aspect of the whole.
One aspect of the whole?
Know this: if you aim to search all I can say.
Thank you, Leviathan.
Oh, please, say your gratitude and go. Scram. I'll be here all day. As you do. Start to get going.
Smiling, we both waved goodbye to Leviathan, continue onwards to lower strata.
I believe I'm starting to understand what you might be planning. Astaroth. However, I cannot pursue this train of thought any further, nor can I convey it to anyone. The cloud blanketing my mind must never live, lest I come to the very conclusion as Astaroth.
So Leviathan chose to forget. There existed things neither angels nor demons must even think about. Something they had to remain ignorant of, no matter what. Having lived for so many years, Leviathan's unimaginably high level of intellect rivaled that of demon lords and master angels. As such, the chance of his mind comprehending that dreadful concept were exceedingly high, so he could not talk of his secrets.
Forgive me, Raziel.
Once Leviathan had confirmed that the two entered Tokyo Babel, and once again returned to the submerged realms of hell. We had returned to the all-too-familiar landscape of Ginza. We could not tarry any longer, but to find Lilith and regroup. Although Raziel became a touch more optimistic due to Leviathan's words, a dark and heavy shadow still clouded her expression. Because she had been afraid of Astaroth or something else. We recalled Leviathan's words, how he told us that Raziel's heart had been wandering into the sea of chaos. She could be hiding something from me. Something not even she could fully comprehend. Was it a truth too dreadful, too overwhelming to be put into words? Needless to say, the key to solving all this was Raziel's own memories, particularly the ones pertaining to what happened during the divine calamity. For instance, this truly was more mere conjecture. What if Raziel caused the divine calamity and proceeded to live her life at Tokyo Babel, oblivious to it all? What if she never forgot? No, that couldn't be true. The fact she accompanied me on my pilgrimage was evidence of that. I was reading too much into this. When I thought I was ashamed of my own train of thoughts, the fact that purposefully discarded logic and reason in favor of denying such a possibility similarly made me ashamed of myself. Raziel.
Yes?
No matter what happens, you need to stay strong. The way's about to calm you, claim you. I'll be there to pull you out. So, remain calm and always look for a way to survive.
I will, and I'm sorry for making you worry like this.
Don't mention it. I love you. Remember?
I do.
Raziel gave a flustered nod, attempted to display some level of confidence, but even I found it somewhat embarrassing. We decided to head for Pandora through the door in the clock tower, just as we had done before. In the meantime, I let my mind wander, thinking of the various things that still lay in store for us. We pushed the door open and leapt through, arriving at one of the Academy's hallways. Finally here. The journey felt both tremendously long and painfully short. Either way, I was aching for some rest. I headed for a night duty room. So when I first took notice of something being amiss. The silent hallways, deserted classrooms, severe lack of any passerby.
Something's not right.
Yeah. Campus felt anything but normal. We hadn't been able to spot a single person since we arrived. An electric shock rushed to my entire body as I switched to combat mode, pulling out a Picatti's sword from my pocket to mention without a moment's delay. Raziel.
Got it.
Raziel tucked her tablet under one arm as we took off towards the night duty room, being constantly vigilant for our surroundings. The night duty room was empty, but I found a number of things that could be used as clues. 2 cups of coffee left out on the table. They must have belonged to Lilith and Sorami. I was uncertain about Sorami, but Lilith had her own personal cup for tea and coffee. Brush a finger against the remnants of coffee at the bottom of the cup. This moisture is telling me that it had not been a day since these were left here. Could have been captured shortly after finishing their tea. Or perhaps they had to leave due to some sort of emergency before they could put the cups away.
Satsuna.
With an undercurrent of urgency in her tone. Yes?
Someone's coming. Hide your magic.
Devs was told. Raziel's skill at detection far eclipsed mine, having halted the flow of my magic, awaited with bated breath.
They're heading straight for this room.
She was right. Through intense listening, I made the sound of footsteps belonging to 3 people in total. I could also detect that they advanced with slow and careful steps, their alertness heading DEFCON 2. They had most likely already taken notice of our presence. Simply did not know our exact location. Still, I could piece together what they had in mind. More specifically, decided to first investigate the room and use our base of operations, this room.
What are we going to do?
Fight. The decision came to me without a moment of hesitation. Do not let them kill us. No idea what had befallen Pandora, but for the time being, I would stay and fight. On the other hand, taking lives here could be a problem later on. As such, merely rendering them unconscious would be far more desirable in an option. I prefer to interrogate someone to learn what had happened, but considering our circumstances, that would prove difficult. I sheathed my steel and suppressed my magic, relying nothing more than my own physical abilities to overcome the opposition. Approaching footsteps grew louder, 3 people in question, each marching at their own speed, as opposed to electing a leader to take the front with the other 2 trailing behind. I had no leader, what meant the 3 of them were equal in rank. Their destinations clear and set, their stride betrayed no trace of hesitation. There's no mistaking it, they were heading straight for the night duty room. After giving Raziel a series of hand-waved instructions, I calmly made my way to the back of the room, opened the window, and leaned outside. Duck.
Don't move!
3 angels burst into the room with swords drawn, ready and prepared to fight. However, the first attempt to arrest us, therein lie our chance.
Property elimination. Air. Level 2.
The angels each abruptly clutched their throats, but were unable to make any sounds. The air of this entire room had just been eliminated, rendering them unable to call for reinforcements. I think those are the angels?
I think so.
Duck and so on.
I actually think that's you 2.
Wait, okay.
We were supposed to stay quiet, weren't we? Maybe
I
it's
don't
us.
know. I don't know.
Oh wait, that's probably us laying in wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The 1.
And a 1.
And a 2.
And
go.
go! As 3 angels were entirely too panicked to prevail in a hand-to-hand scuffle, we decided to knock them unconscious. All 3 collapsed onto the ground without as much as a squeak. We swiftly tied them up, then crammed the bodies into the closet. Seeing how their primary duty seemed to be patrolling the perimeters, would no doubt to give regular status reports. The said reports suddenly stopped, would inevitably spark a state of high alert. In other words, ours was a race against the clock. We bolted outside the hallway.
Where do you think they are?
Several ideas. In the classrooms, student council room, gymnasium, and finally, Astaroth's office. Astaroth's office seemed the most likely candidate, but there was one problem. Astaroth himself had yet to realize that his scheming had been revealed. After all, Leviathan's words were only for our ears. No one else knew of what Astaroth had done. In other words, I finally put his plans into motion, making sure to first eliminate future obstacles, that is, Lilith and Sorami.
I doubt everyone here is taking orders from Astaroth.
On the other hand, the group that attacked us was made up of angels. You should be wary of Camael, too.
But
I know. For now, Lilith and Sorami must come first. Have faith in those two, at the very least.
okay.
Did not wish to even imagine those two turning against us. I wished to pray to God, but I could not. All I could do was believe in them. Still, where should we go from here exactly?
Hey, you two. Raziel, Setsuna.
Lilith?
What are you doing taking a stroll in the middle of the hallway, huh? Listen, come to the gymnasium right this instant. The same one where you trained with Belial.
Are you alright?
I wouldn't exactly call this alright. Anyway,
Lilith's telepathy cut off abruptly. Could something have happened? Either way, we need to make haste. We darted through the hallway, doing the best to remain silent and out of sight. On our way to the gym, we came across a number of patrolling angels. We managed to sneak past them. They appeared exceedingly vigilant, no doubt partly owing to them stumbling upon those three angels in the closet. Our foes were no doubt scanning each area for magical activities. Using our magic would only reveal our locations to them. As such, remaining hidden depended solely on my own abilities. What's more, the angels themselves were far more perceptive than mortals. Nonetheless, despite the odds being stacked against us, we managed to make it to the gymnasium without incident. Alright. As I reached out to push the gym doors open, I suddenly felt a chill run down my spine. Someone was awaiting ambush on the other side. Someone had felt no need to hide their abundant magical prowess. It was neither Lilith or Sorami. Belial? No, not him. Naturally, it wasn't Camael, the Serpent of Death either. Which left Astaroth, or possibly... I felt vaguely confident in my assumption that neither Astaroth nor Camael or even Lucifuge awaited me beyond these doors. The flow of magic I perceived from the other side felt clear and vibrant, like a forest stream, intense like raging fire. I opened the door, came face to face with him, standing there in the middle. The commander of 12,000 angels of destruction, the living incarnation of the might of God, Camael.
Camael.
The angel's expression remained stern and unflinching. Next to him, Lilith and Sorami lay on the ground, their hands tied behind their backs, with a group of angels pointing swords at their necks. And were from Camael and their blades would strike, Lilith could possibly survive the ordeal, but not Sorami.
sorry. They caught us shortly after I called you.
Ow! 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 Careful there! My arms are famously inflexible, I'll have you know. Ow! 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 Ow!
Camael sighed and gave one of his underlings an order.
Loosen their bonds.
Phew. I think I'm gonna be more diligent with those post-bath stretching exercises from now.
As usual, Sorami was still, well, being Sorami.
They may be hostages, but I have no intention of hurting them. Well, provided you don't give me any reason to.
Why have you done this?
To stop you, obviously. What other reason would there be to be?
That's not what I meant. Why do you want to stop us?
Setsuna, I have no quarrel with you. Unless you side with Raziel, that is. Then we have a bit of a problem.
My heart raced fast in my chest, to the point of being painful. Explain yourself. Raziel hugged her own body, her eyes widening in terror. There's no mistaking it. She's trembling with fear.
Raziel, you're the cause of all this.
His words were like a dagger in Raziel's heart.
I'm the cause? Of what?
Do I really need to spell it out to you? The divine calamity, You are the one who caused it.
The very air in the room seemed to freeze over, as the angels all glared at Raziel, their expressions heavy with emotions that could be either fear or contempt. Fat beads of sweat trickled down Raziel's forehead, color gradually draining from her cheeks.
What are you talking about?
Camael's expression remained devoid of emotion, while Raziel's reflected deeper and deeper hues of bewilderment with each passing second.
You say I brought out the divine calamity, but I have no such power.
That I won't deny. However, you are the one who knows the secrets of God, the owner of the Sefer Raziel, the one tome that revealed even the mysteries of creation itself. I feel it's only natural to believe that your book was responsible for the divine calamity. Wouldn't you agree?
No, but I mean, I was searching for that book. It was never in my possession. I'd spent all this time looking for it.
Wrong. The Serpent of Death has loosened her tongue, claiming she has given the book to you before the calamity.
Serpent of Death, Camael. But Camael died. It must have been a fake one.
What?
Raziel collapsed onto her knees, unable to comprehend Camael's so-called truth.
She herself told me. The Serpent of Death found and picked up the book, once discarded within the depths of purgatory. Seeing how she couldn't puzzle out its encryption, she handed it to you.
I
stole a glance at Raziel, still blinking in surprise, saw her trembling, but not because she might have felt bemused or angered by Camael's lies, which mean that Camael must have spoken the truth. Please, Raziel, deny his claims. I'm begging you. Say he's wrong.
Answer me, Raziel. Were you at the time of the divine calamity, and where were you at the time of the I can't talk. Where were you at the divine calamity, and what did you do?
my book.
She claps her hands together, almost as in prayer.
I'm waiting for an answer, Raziel. What did you write in that book?
The Sefer Raziel holds all the knowledge of the world, everything that I, who bears the name the Secrets of God, knows.
I already know that, but I just can't understand. What drove you to do this? Why would you bring about such a nightmare? Fellow angels spilling each other's blood as they cackled, decapitated themselves with a smile, reveled in destruction with a song on their lips. That living nightmare.
I don't know. I really don't. I'm telling the truth.
Camael, do you really believe what Camael's claims? Can you truly place any trust in the words of that serpent?
I do, because I made her write it down. The 70 sacred pens of Yazriel record only the truth. What I have told you is exactly what she wrote down. In other words, the truth.
Yazriel's sacred pens were said to be able to write down the true name of God, and then kept hidden even from the angels themselves. Whoever used a pen was incapable of writing anything but a complete truth. Raziel was overwhelmed, seemingly having understood just how much power Yazriel's pen held.
You see now, Raziel? Why have you lost your memories? Why you had lost your memories, and whether your amnesia was genuine or a mere fabrication, no longer matters.
Camael spread his mechanical wings, his frigid expression the noose around Raziel's neck.
You committed a sin. If you believe I shall spare your life to allow you to atone, think again!
Camael spread his arms wide, his cuffs splitting out his twin weapons, the same ones Raziel told me about before.
Behold, death and retribution, the most fitting pair to sing your funeral ode.
His right hand wielded an executioner's blade, a massive bulky thing without a pointed tip. His purpose only to decapitate the foes as they are standing in his way. Camael called it death. His left hand rested a revolver with a brilliant silver glint. So-called Peacemaker, a famous gun designed by Colt, both the weapon and its name heavily associated with the United States. This is retribution.
Make your choice, and make it swift. Choose death, and your head shall fall to dust under its decapitating steel. Choose retribution, and your body shall know the agonizing sting of its bullets.
My ragged breathing had already evened out. My heart was calm once again. Raziel! For a brief moment, I had trouble finding the right words. They're mere things I should have told her, that I'll be by her side, and I want her to flee. I somewhat knew none of those words would reach the very core of her now turbulent heart, so I yelled the following. Don't flee. Stand and fight. Look straight ahead into the eyes of reality. Once you accepted it, think of what to do next.
I should have known. You plan to oppose us, Tendo Setsuna? Your passion is admirable, but I shall show no mercy.
Worry not, you don't need to. Now then, come! Brandishing the Piketty sword, I lunged forward to split the angel's head open with a single blow. My advance with death and retribution. Camael swung his terrible blade with all the power he could muster, yet his expression remained frigid as steel. The sword was being repelled further and further away from his head.
Ah!
His roundhouse kick landed a clean hit on the side of my head, and sent me flying all the way back to the wall.
Setsuna!
Spin, turn, land. Using the wall I had just been blown into as a foothold, I lunged forward. Come forth, sloth! Heed not the call of labor, and hoard your unearned riches as you waste away in unending slumber. I summoned forth the molten gold as flock, to buy myself some time.
Only a fool would send the beasts of the seven deadly sins into battle against an angel.
Camael fired from his Peacemaker, right into a blob of molten gold, with 6 shots pinning his entire mass to the wall. However, this did manage to buy me some time.
What?
By the time Camael realized what was going on, I had already freed both Sorami and Lilith. The only purpose of the molten gold was to distract the angels standing guard near the girls. All I needed was one brief moment where their awestruck gazes were directed at the raging battle. The angels soon regained their composure. Sorami hastily scurried behind my back as Lilith took her stand right next to me.
Jeez Louise. You may be immortal and everything, but that doesn't mean I don't feel pain, Camael.
Lilith, I'm in no mood for your nonsense. Hand over Raziel and leave this place. You're another victim of the calamity, same as us. You have no obligation to protect her.
Oh, okay. So that's how you see it. Guess it can't be helped then.
What exactly are you trying to say?
Just a couple of things I'd like to correct. First off, I may also be a victim of the divine calamity, but it's been kinder to me compared to you angels. Well, I mean, our home's been submerged and all, you know. I gotta admit, the thought of just getting a nuclear submarine and living in what did kinda cross my mind, though.
Enough with your nonsense, Lilith.
Oh? But I'm always serious. Besides, this old brain of mine just can't seem to shut up about something.
Lilith playfully tapped her own head.
And what would that be?
About how painfully dull this all is. Is there a scenario more boring than plain old Raziel being the culprit? Shouldn't someone far more menacing be pulling the strings behind this calamity of yours?
Camael's expression underwent a notable change, his gaze particularly staring daggers into Lilith.
If there's one thing I learned here, it's that demons will always be demons. You disappoint me, Lilith.
Ouch. Feel free to be disappointed, see if I care. Same goes for this little cockfight of yours. I won't interfere. But I also have the right to flee.
What did you just...
Well, Camael and I watched in astonishment as Sorami had been behind me all this time, and the crouching Raziel simply vanished from the gym from our sight.
Truth is a daughter of time. Deception is a daughter of darkness.
Fakes? Impossible. When did you switch them out?
The moment Setsuna summoned them his molten gold, I conjured up 2 fakes and helped the real ones escape.
Huh, so the ones that rescued...
Were illusions, yep. But you did help by enough time for them to escape, so all's well that ends well, I guess.
Lilith flashed a broad grin my way. She was entirely too reckless. Just as I was about to part my lips and warn her, Lilith's head was sliced clean off. It tumbled downwards and rolled across the gym floor. Her body kept standing there, looking all lonely without his head. Lilith's voice pulled me back into reality just in time.
My! Aren't you just a big bully?
Were you an illusion too?
Well, I mean, every one of my selves here at Tokyo Babel are illusions. This one was of particularly low quality. I whipped her up from clay, nothing more.
Seeing her decapitated head still carrying on a conversation with us was quite a gruesome sight, truth be told.
Anyway, Setsuna, let's regroup at Tokyo Babel once you're done here. I'm leaving this buffoon to you. Make your own decisions.
Understood.
Catch you later.
His body collapsed onto the floor while her decapitated head crumbled to a fistful of black dust.
I take it you're the real one then?
Like to think so, yes. Camael exhaled a sigh.
If at all possible, I would wish to avoid fighting you. You see, I must chase after Raziel, but I have a feeling you won't let me do that.
You're right. After what I'd done to Raziel, it's only natural that we'd be enemies.
I see. In that case, I have nothing more to say. I label you a criminal, vile sinner, and most of all, an inhuman monster.
Camael's eyes burned with crimson passion, his overwhelming bloodlust, sending a chill down my spine. Camael, I'm indeed a sinner, just like you said. A monster. And even still, I'll continue to press onwards to face the truth head-on, whatever it might be. And for that reason, you cannot allow me to kill Raziel.
I'm sensing a hint of bias in your tone, Tendo Setsuna.
Camael's lips curled into an amused smile. I won't deny that.
Good. I won't look down upon you for your humanity. I shall face you in battle as an equal, and emerge as the victor.
Does this have anything to do with your defeat against Moses way back then? I can see the angel's raised eyebrows twitch.
Don't even bring that up again. I mean it. I will not let myself be disgraced again.
I still appear to be tormented by a defeat from over 2,000 years ago. Well, putting that aside, let's do this, Camael.
Come.
Camael swung his executioner blade, aiming to take my head. It may have been due to the angel's inhuman strength, but the sword reminded me of a spinning rotor blade. I evaded, skipping his downward slash by a hair's breadth, or so I thought. Gah! A violent wave of pain invaded my body. It took only a second to realize why. I was struck by shockwaves left in the wake of Camael's swing. This blade could utilize Inu wind pressure as a form of weapon. Coming out with a counterplane took only seconds. I swiftly conjured up a protective barrier made of air. The barrier took the brunt of the incoming shockwave, converting it to my left and right, ultimately dispersing it. It enveloped the whole of my body without affecting my movement. I just barely managed to keep it in check by summoning the 7 beasts. It was like a sitting duck here. His steel, a wicked blade that no doubt tasted the blood of countless sinners over the years, and my Piketty sword in a violent clash. The two blades have quite a bit in common. Piketty's sword feasts upon the taint of many a soul succumb to the 7 deadly sins, ultimately reduced to the seal most wicked. I couldn't help but internally chuckle at the irony of a false god and the leader of angels, each clashing with their tainted blades. Executioner blades slide through the very air with a hiss as Camael's war cry shook the halls of the gymnasium. With even his shockwaves serving as dangerous tools, the steel truly was death incarnate. In fact, it felt akin to battling a dozen Grim Reapers, each with a sight thirsting for my blood. Each single attack carried the threat of instant death. If I evaded them, each strike was followed by shockwaves, powerful enough to obliterate my entire body. The only reason I managed to hold my own against such an onslaught was largely due to the magical barrier of air I had erected. Over here! This is primarily thanks to my attacks being ever so slightly superior to Camael's. Even still was more a matter of affinity. First off, in terms of reach, Camael was by far in a more advantageous position, as it could be more or less said of the speed of his swings. However, my difference in reach did not directly put me at a disadvantage. Camael's blade was entirely too enormous. If only I could get close enough to him to avoid being struck down by this blade of instantaneous death, I would have the upper hand. I tightened my grip on his sword handle, while launch a swift thrust aimed at Camael's throat, allowing my mind eye to calmly visualize the moment the blade would be buried in his flesh. Could I pull it off? The tip of my blade wavered for a heartbeat. Camael evaded by simply inclining his head to the side.
If you lack the resolve to fight to the death, you have no place on the battlefield. Coward!
He blasted me away. Not even swinging a sword, but I kicked. I crashed into the basketball hoop and backboard, shattering it to a myriad pieces. I wiped away a trail of fresh blood that trickled forth from my mouth. Camael was right. Even myself had wondered whether or not I was truly giving it all my all. I knew he was not an opponent could topple with a half-hearted resolve. My heart simply wouldn't let me. Seemingly irritated, Camael's lunged forward with his sword in hand as I still lay on the ground after his previous attack.
So you were no coward after all, but a fool nonetheless. If you desire to oppose me, the commander of Angels of Destruction, you ought to back it up with actions.
I spoke the truth, no question about it. I rose to my feet, once again brandishing my sword after I spat a mouthful of blood and saliva onto the ground. I had no intention of killing him. However, I would defeat him here, and that could lead to his death or the permanent expiration of his soul. I'd be willing to shoulder that sin. Camael must have felt the same way.
Come at me, you rotten cur!
As you wish, Red Scourge! Once we had each grazed the other one's line with a half smile, we lunged forward, into battle. Steel clashed with steel, sparks blossoming between them with renewed fervor. Camael's executioner sword grew swift and heavy, while Piketty's sword flashes steel to meet the angel's blade. Reveal yourself, O avatar of gluttony! Shed pride and cast aside worldly wisdom as he quenched your voracious appetite, drowning in pleasures unbound! With the blades still locked together, I summoned one of the 7 beasts. The monster grew in size, until his head brushed the ceiling, then lunged towards Camael. The angel clicked his tongue in irritation and skillfully pumped the abomination full of bullets, stopping its monstrous advance.
Your cheap parlor tricks won't work on me.
My eyes are finally open, but to the underlying power behind Camael's bullets, they were indeed retribution incarnate. To put it in simple terms, it was a crucifixion. No matter the opponent, the bullet bound its target in place, ushering it in its inevitable demise. If it ever hit me, I would be paralyzed. In fact, this weapon was forged as a handgun and proved to work in my favor. Though, as long as I kept a close eye on the muzzle of the trigger, I could potentially evade his shots. In the end, taking a shot here would hardly be different from a regular human getting gunned down. I would die just the same. That thought as a consolation, I had to focus on just doing my best here. My raison d'etre existed to overthrow the impossible, to grant me the power necessary to prevail. My opponent wielded sword and gun. I would do the same. I didn't even need for an incantation. My weapon would be created not to trample over him, but merely as a counterplan to combat him with. As such, we only a tiny amount of time and magic. Camael's blade changed direction midair, mid-swing to repel the bullet I fired. You have your peacemaker.
You dare confront me with the most wicked gun in recorded history? Know your place!
I pulled out assault weapon rifle in question. Infamous worldwide as a gun responsible for countless lost lives. 1947's Kalashnikov, commonly known as the AK-47. The model with a shortened stock.
Interesting. You certainly seem willing to pull out all the stops.
The second layer we each pull on respective triggers, propelling a .45 long Colt 40 and a 7x62 by 39 round against each other, both amplified through magic. No cover in sight, I continue to evade forward at the bullet while running at full speed, otherwise gaining distance with an angel. While each Camael's shots were equivalent to instant death, my bullets would only inflict meager amounts of damage on it. My magazine of 30 rounds empty in the book 9. I proceed to reload with one hand, and once again called upon the 7 deadly beasts. Teddy sword my right. I summon you! You're a knight of lust! A moment later, I conjure out a mirrored illusory copies of myself.
Illusions? Impudent whelp.
My golden bullet's colossal blade eviscerated all opponents save for one. In other words, the real me. I flashed my fully loaded Kalashnikov muzzle, lit up the river like fireworks.
You're mine!
Camael's dodged his bullet without even breaking a sweat, and pushed the tip of his gun to my head.
Checkmate.
Is it now? We share a smile, pull the triggers, and let loose even more bullets. My illusion took Camael's bullets head on, dropping his Kalashnikov to the floor and shattered to pieces.
Behind me?
Camael attempted to spin around but ended up being far too late. I was already on upon him. It was a simple trap, all in all. I kept one illusion to myself, and the Kalashnikov and made him fire it. As the bullets themselves were real, Camael assumed the illusion was the real me. Using the moment when the illusion shattered to pieces as an opening, I made my way behind Camael. For a brief moment, I slipped into his blind spot, yet that one moment was enough. I let myself collapse horizontally to the ground.
What in the...
I delivered a slash aimed at Camael's defenseless shins right in front of my eyes. He immediately leapt upwards to evade it, pulling both his legs up as he took to the air. Good. It's all according to my calculations. With exact, precise movements, I forced my blade to halt in the middle of the slash, pointing the tip of my sword at Camael. So I sang the words. Oh, avatar of envy, may your balanced passion turn to spite, and take your form and rotten chains to shackle all those you love! The chains surrounding the monster, made from the entrails of animals, emanated a rancid stench as they coiled about Camael's limbs, body, even sword, restraining his movement.
Damn you!
Needless to say, the angel could slice his shackles open with ease. Still, it gave me a momentary opening. Camael would endeavor to cut himself open and gather the strength to accomplish the task. During this brief moment, this hairbreadth of a split second, with ready my blade lifted to bury it deep in the angel's neck.
What?
Yet, in the last moment, I halted, choosing not to take his life. You lost, Camael. Irritation flashed across the angel's features.
Confound it all. You think I'd lose to a mortal twice?
First time was Moses, based on what I had heard, though he was quite an extraordinary man. May I go?
Do as you wish, but not before you answer my question. Where will your path take you now?
Where indeed? I traveled to the very ends of Tokyo Babel, by my own will. In other words, all the way to heaven, in order to unearth the truth, to accept whatever it could hold.
I see. Go then. I won't chase you. What are you waiting for? Go, before I change my mind, you witless buffoon.
Soon I would. But first, I need to say this. There's something you should know.
What is it?
Camael was killed by Astaroth. I'm certain of it.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Leviathan attests to it. Camael met Astaroth in battle. Was slain.
Then, what of the Camael we captured?
I don't know. But I met and father what it meant that someone who was supposedly killed still lurks around Tokyo Babel for some reason. Seeing Camael trying to stand up, I've offered him my hand.
I will bring this up with Astaroth. But Setsuna, it would be in your best interest to leave Pandora right now.
He was right. Camael might have let me go, but the lower-ranking angels won't be so forgiving. As for the demons, with a select few exceptions, could not be trusted. It does seem that way.
We may not have known each other for long, but know that I shall pray for your success from the bottom of my heart. May your pilgrimage and journey around Tokyo Babel end well.
You know Jdbutler?
Ah, but you're neither wicked nor a god.
Smiling, Camael sheathed his weapon and turned away. I did the same.
Godspeed, Setsuna.
Thanks. Exiting the gymnasium, I bolted down the hallway with a sense of purpose while trying to get in touch with Lilith. Lilith, where are you?
Shut your trap! Lucifuge's gonna find you. We've become enemy number 1 in their eyes, goddammit! As things stand now, we've been declared the main culprits behind the divine calamity. Can you believe it?
As I expected, Astaroth was planning to drive us into a corner. He claimed we were the culprits behind the calamity. I couldn't even laugh at a joke that bad. Until Camael managed to get things under control, we continue to be hunted like criminals.
Alright, listen closely. Don't enter the shadows. Lucifuge can move freely in them.
Shadows? That was bad news. Really bad. After all, it's going to be a bit difficult.
Why?
Because it's the middle of the night. Light bulbs adorning the ceilings shattered one after the other with an audible pop, cloaking the hallway in darkness. Then the shadows invade the world.
Huh? It was noon until just a minute ago. Oh, crap, I forgot. Lucifuge was in charge of all the magical artifacts Astaroth had collected.
The hallway had completely been enveloped by the coming darkness, and a tiny emergency light ended up being completely shattered. Move. I need to move and fast. I want to live through this. The Piketty sword could help illuminate the vicinity. All I had to do was summon this flames of wrath. At least I should have done that. For some reason, with my entire body paralyzed, frozen in place. Could make out something that resembled a faint rustling of clothes being dragged in the distance. The far, far distance. I need to flee while I still had a chance. Rustle. What? It had come really close. So I recall what Lilith said, how Lucifuge could move freely within the shadows. On the field of battle, a certain level of fear was always necessary, for it was fear that drove us to remain calm, careful, and vigilant. It's fear that ultimately allowed us to muster the courage needed to overcome it. The fear that coiled about my heart now was pure dread of an entirely different hue. All my eyes could see was darkness, black and deep as the night, yet I could feel something moving within it. Just the dread of knowing that whatever it was, it lusted for my blood. I feared all sounds, unable to tell whether we're far away or close by. Closing in, drawing farther away, right by my side in the distance, closing in. I found myself coming under the influence of some sort of hypnotism. Wasted no time to respond. Emily swung my Piketty sword in a wide arc. Did nothing but empty air. Ha! Beads of sweat rolled down my forehead, possibly due to fear. Gripped my teeth, determined to endure. I had a presence around me, but at the same time, I didn't. His voice sounded both far away and frightfully close, almost like it was standing right next to me, all the while being nowhere at all. God damn it, where could... A moment later, I felt a jolt of violent pain in my face as something sent me flying with an attack. What in the world just happened? Then came another explosion of pain in my stomach. I sealed myself and attempted to grab the leg of the attack, but was too slow. Shit! I need to think of some way to strike back while he was still toying around with me. James.
Half of this world is forged of darkness.
As I ate his next attack, I suddenly came to realize something. This felt not entirely unlike that battle at Gethel, with both my location awareness and sense of distance robbed of me. Back then I figured I could, in the end, combat the lack of sight by simply feeling around for her presence. But here there were no sounds, no presence to detect, not even stagnant air. In other words, by the time I detected an incoming strike, it already hit me. Lucifuge, why are you attacking me? The answer came without as much as a moment's hesitation.
I'm not obligated to answer, but I shall say this much. This is all according to Lord Astaroth's will.
I see. So you too know what he's planning. When you try to trick him, other than the fact that he killed Camael, knew nothing about Astaroth. Anybody could be scheming here.
How dare a mere imposter like you pretend to understand my master's pain?
Lucifuge exploded with anger. I chose my words carefully, intent on pulling some kind of a clue out of him. I'd rather be an imposter than that master of yours. You see, I, for one, don't involve the angels and demons in my scheming. I'm better off as an imposter than a demon lord, blinded by illusions of grandeur.
Silence!
Another strike accompanied the echo of his flustered voice. I could detect no prior indication of his attack, nor any shift in the environment as he struck. However, I remember the moment his attack struck me, covering deep into my mind. Next time he struck, I could predict his movements. No matter how deep of a shadow he hid himself in, no matter how much he concealed his presence, no matter how skillfully he commanded the flow of air through his magic, I would not let him deliver another blow. Then tell me, Lucifuge, how do you excuse Astaroth's foolish actions?
There is no need for excuses. It is exactly as my master has said. We need destruction. We are not mere puppets to be toyed around with by God.
There we go. He aimed at my jaw. The moment his ice-cold fist came to contact my skin, my body moved near unconsciously, assuming position for a counterattack. Got you! From grabbing his arm, I could calculate the location of his body. Using that, I could calculate his weakness, the most effective means of exploiting said weakness. Brandishing the Piketty sword with my free hand, I sliced his torso in half. It only felt that way, followed up by summoning one of the 7 deadly beasts. To my side! Avatar of Wrath! Wrath's azure flames cloaked the hallway in a vivid, lurid light, dispersing the shadows.
Fusio!
Or so I thought. Jet black darkness drank up the flames, extinguishing them in a mere heartbeat. In a way, though, I'd anticipated this.
You struggle in vain, boy. A trick of this caliber won't dispel my darkness. Your attempt did amuse me, however. All that awaits now is certain death!
A second later, I saw the incarnation of pure, crystallized darkness bit into my flesh. Clutching my teeth, I did my best to suppress a scream. Having anticipated his attack, I tapped into the full extent of my magic to protect myself. I intentionally left my sense of pain intact, but through my cries of anguish, I could command Lucifuge's heart. Lucifuge, the Chancellor of Hell and Astaroth's trusted right-hand man. His name is derived from the Latin phrase, he who flees in the light. That made me assume his weakness was light, but the reality of it was far from being that simple. However, there you are!
What?
I meant that I managed to see you! I rose to my feet, screaming into a darkness thick enough that I couldn't even see past my nose. It's no bluff. I did begin to comprehend the workings of this darkness. Full comprehension would lead to understanding, acceptance, and victory. First off, I knew who his darkness incarnated. one who flees the light. This place was his very stomach, devoid of a sense of time and distance, cloaked only in darkness. Secondly, this place was his territory. In other words, a world already reshaped through the power of his raison d'etre. Darkness gave people a variety of things. Fear, for example. Darkness robbed men of a fundamental ability needed to confirm their surroundings, thus instilling dread in their hearts. To look at the other end of the spectrum, some would conversely find comfort in darkness. For instance, people who committed dreadful crimes and schemed to do so. People who indulge in activities no righteous man would even utter. To them, the darkness would at times be a valued ally. Those who feared the darkness did so due to its concealing nature. Those who found comfort in the shadows did so precisely because it concealed all. In other words, Lucifuge concealed all things. Such was the true nature of his raison d'etre. This place had turned into his realm of absolute, all-encompassing darkness, defying all light, feasting even upon raging fire. It led me to a certain conclusion. I accepted the darkness. The Lucifuge perceived me with a sense other than the basic five. I needed to find something surpassing it. What I needed were eyes. Ones that could see everything for what they truly were. Just like hers. Sorami, please, lend me your power. If I couldn't perfectly reproduce her eyes, at the very least, I could create something closely resembling it. Close my eyes. Create a microcosm to combat Lucifuge's inner world with. Would resist the coming darkness and reveal all that was concealed. The world turns through the cogs of an intricate mechanism. I should conjure up a machine that exists only to grant my wishes. I should trample over this never-ending darkness. With a sharp sound, my eye was born anew, my vision changing to something else. What once was pitch-black darkness now danced in vivid colors. Rather than a mere eye, was rather a conversion device, replacing the stimuli received through hearing, touch, smell, taste, and intuition with pure sight. And in that multitude of colors, I saw a being conspicuously lift up, this bright red, slithering in the hallway.
What is that eye of yours?
I even tell the direction of his voice. It came not from the bright red light I had just seen, but something that felt like a loudspeaker given life. On more careful examination, as it had been set up in the hallway, I see. I couldn't be determined based on the voice alone. You have a speaker set up, don't you? Explain why the voices felt both close and far away at the same time.
Impossible! You can see it!
I can, all too clearly. Fixing my gaze on the red light, I swung my sword in its direction. As I did, I saw the darkness partially slice open and dispersing. Just as I suspected, the darkness blanketing the area was a manifestation of Lucifuge's own inner world. As I inflicted damage upon him, his world, too, was affected. In short, as long as Lucifuge remained unharmed, his world would be absolute. The more damage he received, the less stable his world would become. Just as I thought, that Lucifuge would seize the remaining darkness. He took and applied to his own body, wearing it like a garment. He lunged backwards, landing on the ceiling. He stood upright, not even his hair yielding to the forces of gravity. From up there, he flashed the most wicked of grins my way.
This ends now.
I felt his fighting spirit wither and die. The relentless bloodlust Lucifuge displayed a moment before had been extinguished like a fickle candle. Despite all that, I firmly held onto my sword, then once letting my guard drop. What exactly is that supposed to mean? That you never had any intention of killing me to begin with?
If I did, your head would have parted ways with your shoulders after my first attack.
Fair enough. I did find it peculiar. Ignoring that final attack of his, I saw a little point in him launching a barrage of half-hearted strikes. I could accept the fact that perhaps he had been toying with me out of pride, simply because he displayed self-control. But Lucifuge was clearly not that kind of man.
Mere curiosity drove me to attack, nothing more. I wish to know that you had witnessed, learned, and experienced at the Sixth Stratum.
Am I to assume that you're letting me off the hook now?
Go, Tendu Setsuna. Pandora has already served its purpose. Adam must be opening the gates of heaven and connecting the wormhole as we speak. which also brings Lord Astaroth's mission to an end.
What?
You appear to have the wrong idea about us. I'm certain you believe this is all our scheme, our elaborate, our elaborate plot, correct?
That's right. Lucifuge sneered mockingly, his lips curling to a smile befitting a demon.
You are mistaken. The scheme had long since ended.
What?
Run along now, and see the terrible truth with your own eyes. The walls of Tokyo Babel, erected by a certain master angel, as well as the whole of Pandora, along with all the world around it, shall soon crumble to ruin. And that fills me with bliss. After all is said and done, I'm still a demon. We revel in decay and destruction, decline and corruption, clinging desperately into life hardly befits creatures like us.
The fear of darkness that's gripped me until recently has now ceased to matter. Lucifuge's words felt like a dagger in the heart. There's seemingly nothing more to do and say. The old demon made us leave. The scheme had long since ended. Moments later, I set out to rejoin my friends, yet not without Lucifuge. Final words still ringing in my ears, filling me with a powerful sense of unease. But like Kugutsu's Sorami poured me along as we both raced down the hallway.
Raziel, snap out of it!
Okay.
My words poured new strength into my legs, yet a crushing sense of regret still hung over me. Did I truly do it? Wait, I think this Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Is this Raziel?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Did I truly do it? Did I cause the divine calamity? I could barely believe it myself. No matter how hard I tried to remember, my memories felt trapped behind a massive wall I could not overcome.
Ah, there's Lilith. Need some help over here?
Phew. For a bunch of shabby illusions, handling multiple at once sure tires a gal out.
Lilith briefly cracked her neck, then gave my shoulder a light pat.
Hey, Missy. What are you doing moping around over there? Oh, that thing with Camael? Hey, don't let stuff like that bother you.
I shouldn't let it bother me. There's no way I could ever do that.
Sure you could. I mean, what you did was a drop in the ocean, really.
That sounded awfully rude for some reason.
Well, what do you mean?
Look, sure, maybe Camael's right. Maybe you really did accidentally cause this whole divine calamity, but that's all you did, you know?
Lilith took a terrifying revelation about my past, then simply threw the entire thing out the window without hesitation.
Sure, I don't know your motive, whether or not you did it on purpose or with the intention to harm others. Well, I guess those lost memories of yours should have all the answers. Besides, you think a bookworm angel like you could end the world? I mean, let's be real. If the world's gonna end, it has to be by the hand of a bunch of flashy villains.
Way to go, Lilith.
I felt the same way, unsure if she was trying to cheer me up or simply insult me. Still, it did make me get my act together somewhat. I don't know any of that, not even what I did that day, but... He told me not to flee. He told me to look reality straight in the eyes, accepting whatever I saw reflected in them. but I'm doing my best to come up with a solution. I will do the best I can to set things right. What I had to do was hardly anything special, really.
I'd say that's more than enough, don't you think?
Hell, if you stopped caring or just gave up.
I will set out for the 6th stratum, then the 7th, and finally, I'll open the gates of heaven. Do you still wish to accompany me?
Do.
Sorami, I think it'd be better if you stayed. Well, actually, it doesn't matter either way. The mental contamination's getting pretty bad here at Pandora too. You doing alright now?
Sorami gave her head a light bonk.
Sensitive enough for this kind of stuff. All I'm getting is a light headache, but that's about it.
From the way she smiled at us, I doubted she was telling a lie.
Huh, so you really are fine. If we had more time, I would have loved to take a look at that brain of yours.
My brain? And how exactly would you do that?
Surgery, duh. We'd open that sucker right up.
Lilith chuckled at Sorami's exaggerated reaction. Somehow, I felt the atmosphere relax a bit. I wished to know the truth. I could not allow myself to die until then. I could never atone for what I did. My only choice for redemption would be death. And that, in itself, didn't particularly bother me. I would be content with it. Still, I first needed to recover my memories. I spotted someone running our way. The moment I did, a surge of joy, like a fire freshly lit, began to brush against my heart in waves. Feeling such a welling of emotions as sinful, I instinctively averted my gaze from him, from Tendo Setsuna. Joy was a sin. I had to seal those feelings away. As insignificant as such an act may have been, this was nonetheless worthy of penance. I had finally managed to regroup with the others.
Oh, okay. I finally managed to regroup with the others. Raziel averted her gaze from me, appearing somewhat restless.
Righto. Now that we got Setsuna back, could you guys hear me out for a bit?
Lilith produced a short series of claps, prompting all three of us to look at her. After confirming that she had our attention, the demon began to speak.
So, well, there's no nice way to put this, but basically, we're being hunted by the angels and demons commanded by Camael and Astaroth, respectively.
Wow, amazing! Just like Mr. Kimble.
Sorami began to applaud.
Jeez, why are you gonna be so old-fashioned? Anyway, word on the street is these two have reached the 6th stratum, so we might as well be off.
Lilith pointed towards the ceiling.
Our last stop is pretty clear. Heaven. Well, we may end up dead or insane or worse, but if that comes to pass, I'm sure that Setsuna will do what needs to be done.
Lilith's smile remained unflinching as she said all those relatively extreme things. I too intended to do just that. I tried the very ends of Tokyo Babel, no matter the cost.
Yep. With that said, if any one of you feel like your head's about to split open or get the sudden urge to hurt someone, make sure to let me know. I'll dispose of you lickety-split.
Lilith reminded us of the grim severity of our situation in our usual, playful tone, that once a mind had been contaminated, the person in question, either our friend or comrade, had to be eliminated. However, still remember Getho, Kuru Miyako, and Uriel. Recall how they acted as they surrendered their minds to madness. A gruesome, terrifying sight, even more so should it ever befall one of our own. Acknowledge.
Understood.
I think I'll manage, though. I mean, it's gonna be just fine.
Sorami, I know your optimism usually burns brighter than the sun, but somehow I'm not convinced.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, whatevs. Anyway, time to get going for real. Heaven awaits.
Let's go!
Sorami enthusiastically thrust her fist into the air. Urged by a sudden onset of nostalgia, I followed her cue and did the same.
Still, I thought we were being hunted, but there's not an angel or demon in sight.
They bring out their full forces. The Camael was able to repel them.
And the demons?
Oh, they seem to be fighting.
Sorami lazily cast her gaze in the sky, her transcendent eyes detecting something not even angels or demons could see.
Fighting? Who's fighting who?
In response to Lilith's inquiry, Sorami placed her hands slightly above her eyes, squinting to see better.
It's probably Mr. Astaroth against...
Doc, you narrate.
In the confines of his office, Astaroth found himself face to face with that certain man. He produced a cup of coffee from somewhere, which Belial graciously accepted.
Jordan, your normal voice. Jordan? See here.
Yeah, it is. Is that me?
Yeah, just use your normal voice.
Oh. Huh. This thing is pretty bitter.
I prefer it this way compared to the sugary mess they serve in hell.
That's so. Well, I like it sweet myself. So yeah.
The two carried on their conversation like a pair of old friends. Once he had gulped down the last drops of the coffee, Astaroth set his cup aside and turned to the other man.
In any event, what brings you here, Belial?
Oh, nothing serious, really. I took a quick peek at Camael and Satsuna's fight, and the boy said some really interesting stuff at the end there.
Astaroth let out a sigh.
Tendo Setsuna is a criminal aided by Lilith. Maybe you should have interfered.
Indeed, the Demon Lord was right. Belial ought to have interfered.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. But who is I to butt into a heated one-on-one battle between two men?
I should have remembered you were that kind of man. However, as you will recall, Japan's laws label duels as a crime.
Our very existence is pretty damn sinful in itself. You know what I'm saying? You know, like hiding the very culprit behind the divine calamity.
The truly fearsome part about Belial's declaration was that he uttered it in the same joking tone he had employed until now. The office's tranquil atmosphere never wavered. Belial's coffee, too, remained pleasantly hot. The Demon Lord displayed not a trace of anger.
Care to elaborate on that?
Let's hear your explanation, Astaroth.
My explanation? Very well. Anything else?
I'm quite the greedy guy, you know. Personally, I'd love to know everything you did these past few thousand years from beginning to end.
I'm afraid that would take a considerable amount of time.
Why don't you just tell me how it started then?
Astaroth's laugh chimed in the air like a tiny bell.
Very well. I shall confess. Let us say that I was responsible for the divine calamity. That Raziel was merely a cue, nothing more.
It's a crime to give false testimony.
Oh, but I've committed far greater crimes than that.
Alright, gotcha. So basically, you're the mastermind behind all of this, huh?
There was a shift in the air then, pushing aside all traces of the room's previously soothing atmosphere, an ominous chill that permeated one's very bones, befitting the lowest layers of hell.
Me, the mastermind? An amusing thought. Am I truly the mastermind behind all this?
Just as his seething bloodlust reached its climax, Belial let out a booming guffaw. To Astaroth, this was a grave sign. Belial's expression may have been a mask of composure, yet a faint glimmer of the Demon Lord's genuine rage shone through his facade. No, it was in fact something more than that. Mere anger was no fiercer than a child's sparkler compared to the swamp of dark, murderous contempt lurking behind it. Anger and bloodlust were different emotions. The former abided by instinct, the latter by logic and reason. And Belial's reasoning whispered the following into his ears. Make Astaroth part with that scheming head of his right here, right now. Then hurl it into the bubbling cauldron of hell and let it burn alongside his vile ambitions.
I'm not expecting you to understand.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
Belial inclined his head to the side, his neck giving off an audible crack. He then touched his thumb to his middle finger and snapped. A moment later, an explosive blast hit Astaroth and room alike. All Belial did was ignite the magical energies exuding from his body. He required no complex incantation, nor a fixed set of movements. He didn't even need to focus his mind on producing the explosion. He simply decided that snapping his fingers would release his magical powers, and that was it. An average demon could produce but a feeble breeze with such a method. In Belial's case, however, its power rivaled that of a small nuclear missile. Naturally, by adjusting the vector of the attack, Belial himself received no damage from the blast. In any event, most angels or demons would have not only died, but been outright atomized by his attack. It was simply that powerful. Similarly, the demon on the receiving end of the attack was no fledgling either. Far from it.
Your magic hasn't changed one bit. It still sings a melancholic tune.
Astaroth came forward, not a single stain blemishing his unharmed clothes.
Melancholic my ass. You sure like to talk shit.
Belial showed no hint of surprise at this. After all, the man before him was the so-called Crowned Prince of Hell, a top-class demon lord heralded as the sovereign ruler of the world. Smiling, Astaroth gave his fellow demon a tap on the shoulder. The whole action took but a fraction of a second.